Is it? Ah.
Impressive. You can count backwards.
Yeah, you're live here. You're joining us live. Hey, it's live at the Cigar Advisors in Easton, Pennsylvania, where it's cold and our extremities are stuck to our legs. I won't say which extremities. Let your mind play with that for a while. Freddie Lunt is here talking over me as I do the intro to the show, which is okay. I love when Fred talks over me. It's fine. You know, it doesn't matter. Doesn't confuse anybody out there. We have a fantastic show today because we're featuring two great cigars. One is the Debonair from our friend Phil Zangi, and the other is the Indian Motorcycle, which if you want to get a copy of that, also by Phil Zangi. And this is distributed by the good people at Drew Estates. We'll welcome you in today. Now here we are at the offices of Famous Smoke Shop. That's famous-smoke.com. I would say the world's premier online cigar retailer. If you've tried anybody else, well, it's time to stop the foolery. And that would be tomfoolery, which is me. So we're smoking great cigars. We've got a great giveaway today. Point down at the thing. We have our friends at Weyerbacher Beer, who were in a few weeks ago, gave us some outrageous craft beer tasting glasses. They're really good for, you know, getting the nose, putting your nose in, doing the tasting. So they gave us a whole bunch, so we said maybe we'll give away a set of 4. And they're actually really nice glasses. They're great whiskey glasses too. Use them all the time at home when I'm drinking my Balvenie Doublewood, age 6 years in oak, 6 years. Fred says I like the Doublewood. Fred, you're feeling really, you're feeling your oats today, aren't you, Freddie boy?
Better than feeling something else.
Oh. Wow. All right. So maybe I'll introduce the people that are involved with this fine show. Now, do we want the air thing on? Because that's going to make a lot of noise. But I guess we have to. Is that air thing coming on through the noise? No, it's probably going to. We have an air thing here. And
the Canary's unionized, so we had to chip in on one of these.
So now I have here,
lower it a little bit.
sitting right here, John Pulo, editor-in-chief, head muckety-muck.
Hey, thanks for the promotion. That was nice.
What were you?
I don't know.
You were just a guy.
I was just the guy.
You were
the
just
guy
the
who
guy.
does stuff.
And John, give us a quote from Slapshot, from the movie Slapshot.
Oh,
Come on, you rattled off like 30 of them the
I
other
was
day.
gonna say. I mean, you go with the easy ones like putting on the foils, coach.
There you
Old-time
go.
hockey.
There you
or
go.
Oglethorpe. Oglethorpe.
That's right. Hey, Ogie, buy you soda after the game.
He watched
Okay.
that movie 6 times. He hasn't even watched Whiplash yet.
That's right. What the hell? So now making his angry debut today is the professor of all cigarology.
Why am I angry?
You just have an edge to you today. You're sitting on something foreign, I think. I don't know what it is. I think somebody put somebody put one of those fur missiles in your bottom area. This is Gary Core, by the way. If I didn't say his name, Gary's very important.
And live that.
And well, there are people that like him.
Yeah, nice guy. Great at parties.
Thank
Sure.
you, fan.
Excellent party.
We also are featuring today
Great tipper.
Rocky Patel's, what do you call that? The Soul Patch? Yeah. Rocky Patel's Soul Patch. That should be a band. That's a new metal band.
He's got soul and he's
Spitball Parade is going to play covers of Rocky Patel's Soul
Oh,
Patch.
that's the name of the band. Now I remember.
Spitball Parade. And this here, folks,
He's our soul.
he has one, come here, get over here. One
I am-
horrifying hair out of place. Look at this, look at this.
Fly away.
This is Fred Lunt.
I am the human.
Of the disgusting Pennsylvania.
I am the
ones.
human personage of the soul patch.
That's right.
He is our soul.
That's Freddie. Now, don't
Soul
be
patch of Cigar
confused
Advisors.
by the youthful glow. All right, that's uranium that's buried in his backyard. But he may
That glow has lost its luster in
he
the last
may
couple
have
of
the
months.
youth, but he knows his cigars, and that's why he's here. Because it ain't for his looks. I'll tell you that much. I don't think I said my name.
They're wanting
Tommy Z-Man, which is really my birth name, Z-Man. Zarzeki is some name that my mother made up. So today we've got a great show, and we've got a question that you can answer, and if you answer on screen, at the end of the show, somebody other than Chase Vaccaro will win these 4 beautiful glasses from Weyerbacher Craft Beer Tasting Glasses. Let me get into our... Where's our thing? Oh, okay. Look, there's Fred. Oh, I'm looking at Fred. So these are... What's that?
I thought Chase gave us up for Lent.
Yeah, I thought Chase did give us up for Lent. And let's see, Nazim is in, and in South Africa, it is not 10 anymore. It's about 13 minutes after 9, because we have daylight savings time, and I don't believe South Africa has daylight savings time, because South Africa doesn't have any farmers, and so it was supposedly to say, why am I talking about this?
Why are you talking about South African agriculture?
I don't know. Now, yeah, really. Talking about South African agriculture is not going to bolster the views. Now, listen, we need to bolster the views. So we need you right now. Share the frickin' show. Share it on your Facebook page, on your mother's page, on your mother's... Share it there, too.
What?
If your mother wants it to be shared. The camera's shaking because Ryan's laughing, because he loves me. Share the show, please, for us right now. It helps us a lot on Facebook. It gets the name out there. Please click like that you like the show, and give us some comments. Now, to win the set of 4 glasses, you have to answer a question. And I want to know, where do you smoke at home? And we're going to do a... That was so freaking
Phrasing, Tommy.
What's funny about that?
Where do you
Stalkerish
Where do you
question.
smoke at home?
Is it on the porch? Is it next to the red chair in the living room?
Well, that's
Is
what I
it that
mean.
secret crawl space in your attic that I sometimes
No,
hide
I
in?
was thinking it was more like, where do you smoke at home? Usually from my ass.
Wow.
Oh. Wow.
Let's
Okay.
go on, John.
Three.
All right, Fred's a little feisty today.
I had my weed.
Yeah. Did you get a fight on the phone at lunch, Fred? Is that
Up
what
on
it
the
is?
roof.
Yeah. Fred was on the roof.
I was
This
scrappling
morning.
up on the roof.
So the question is, where do you smoke at home? I want you to answer this now. And I have a back patio that I smoke on. And I made it, it's a rock patio, so it's perfect for cigar ash, which falls and goes right through, and the rain comes and gets rid of it. That's where already this jumped out on me, Ryan. John Pulo,
Yes.
when you smoke a cigar at home, where do you smoke? Now, I need you guys to put this up on screen.
Okay. So we have the house and a little one-car garage, and they're connected by a little breezeway. So it's just a little slate stone patio. It's a step up, and it's a walkway that goes out the kitchen door and over to the door to the side of the garage.
Right.
But there's a little area in the back, and I built a deck off of that. It's a little 8x8 little concrete patio that's covered by an awning,
Cool.
and that's where I smoke.
Excellent.
That's
Gary,
my spot,
what
right on
about
the
you?
breezeway.
Well, I know Gary's girlfriend has a beautiful little pool in the back, and that's a great.
Pool.
I said that's a beautiful place to smoke.
That
She's
is.
got nice trees and stuff.
Yep, and or I smoke on her porch in the morning. Like on a, she has a really nice porch. I like a porch. I like a house with a porch. But when I'm at my house,
Gary's a porch guy.
yeah, the porch guy. It's
Wasn't gonna say any animals or.
Don't say it.
It's not good.
hello.
Moving on.
I'm relegated to my garage right now because I'm the only house on the block that doesn't have a deck. But I'm thinking about building a deck this spring, so I have a nice place now to go out
Now,
and have a
Gary,
cigar. Yeah,
are you fond of a big deck?
a big deck.
Gary wants a big deck.
What about Kong's deck?
Oh.
Well, the
That
deck
was cool.
can only be so big
Well,
because
depends on.
my house is only so big.
It really depends on how you use
I
the
think
deck.
it depends on
Not the size.
probably your ethnicity might have something to do with that. How big your deck is.
I don't
Moving
know.
on.
Here we go.
I'm not sure I know what you're
Boy,
talking
that
about.
slope is getting slippery and slipperier.
Let's move on. Go to Fred.
So,
Let's move on. Go to
getting
Fred.
back to
Best
reality
line
here.
of all month. Good one, Gary.
I like my, I have a pretty nice little deck, but I also have a hammock that is awesome for,
Fred has a nice little deck.
I got a nice little deck, but it gets
Yeah.
a lot of use, alright? It's
It does
experience.
get a lot of use?
It's an experience
Does it get
deck.
trampled on a lot?
No, it does not. It just gets a fair amount of use, okay? It's a perfectly fine deck. But I also have a hammock, and it's perfect because it's right under a tree, so it's got lots of shade and breeze comes through. And then in the fall, I have a fire pit right next to that, so not close enough that it'll catch flames.
The damn Norman Rockwell scene out there, aren't you?
Isn't it?
No.
It's you.
I want to say hi to Sanj
Nuclear-
Patel, my buddy.
nuclear
Sanj is
family
on.
and
What's up,
everything.
Sanj? How you doing, dude?
My nuclear family's
Back to
radioactive.
Well, Fred has that youthful glow, as I said. They dug up some uranium in his backyard.
Chernobyl ones.
So there you go.
Chernobyl ones.
And Chase again is making himself just a candidate for not winning again with his quips and wonderful remarks. We love Chase. So we've got a couple of good cigars today. Now
fish, nice.
we've got now our friend Phil Zangi of the Colorado Zangies. I really don't know. I know he's from somewhere. Everybody's from somewhere. He's from somewhere. Phil, if you're watching, you know we love you.
From under.
Phil's a good dude. And Drew it. Phil, what?
He's from under.
He's from under. The Debonair and the Indian motorcycle cigars are distributed by Drew Estate. They're made with tasty high-end tobaccos. We're going to watch me snip and cut this beautiful Belicoso. And notice I probably even took a little too much off there. But you know what? It really is a very, not really, that's kind of a small tip. And I was like the Moyle. I only took tips. So, I got the Debonair. I'll talk about that in a minute. We're going to jump over to John. You have the Maduro on the Indian. Gary has the Maduro on the Indian?
I have the Habano.
The Habano wrapper, which I had this morning and I loved. And Fred has a bad case of trench foot, so we might skip over him. So actually, I'm going to go to Gary first. Gary, you got the natural. I smoked that this morning. I liked it a lot. What are you getting out of it?
I'm actually liking this a lot. I'm getting a lot of nice sweetness out of it, which is what I
Yes.
always like in a cigar,
I
right?
got like a citrus sweetness.
Yeah, kind of a tangy sweetness.
Tangy
And
from Zangi.
It's yeah, and it's smoking really well, and I really like the ash. It's a very fine ash, and it's like a real light gray, and it's very firm, and so it's well made. And I kind of like the Indian motorcycle logo. I think it's kind of cool. So there you go. But anyway, yeah, it's very tasty, very tasty. So it gets
Now,
a thumbs up
you're,
for me.
You're tapping that fine ash. And John, I saw that on the famous site, if you go to our link, that the Indian motorcycles are 22% off on the site.
Boy, we're just
Did I hit you?
we're just giving things away now.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. But
Yeah, Indian motorcycle 22% off across the board. So pick your size. With the exception of the Robusto, that's 21% off. But still, you're looking at this ends up being somewhere in the neighborhood of a $7 and change cigar. So you could get away with making this an almost everyday kind of smoke, or saving it for hanging out on the weekend or whatever the case is. I've got the Maduro. It is a Connecticut broadleaf Maduro, and I don't know if Ryan you can get in nice and close, but this is it's a very rustic looking broadleaf.
which
I
I
mean,
like that.
It's very dark and it's thick and
But
but what's nice is that Connecticut broadleaf can burn a little bit funny because it's such a thick leaf and it's such
Yes.
an oily leaf. But this is actually burning really well.
Yeah, I see
in
that.
spite of the fact that it's got a lot of veins to it, it's got a lot of oils to it. It's Connecticut broadleaf Maduro over Dominican San Vicente binder and Dominican and Nicaraguan fillers.
Say that
Is it sweet? Are you getting sweetness out of it
It's
too?
all that it is right now.
Yeah, I would say it would probably be sweeter than
It's
this.
very sweet and with a little bit of earth underneath it.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say, yeah.
I cheated a little bit and I went to our friend Cigar Coop's website and I had read some of the reviews and see what
Okay.
people are saying. And I'm only just a couple of puffs into this thing right now, but Coop found earth, coffee, cocoa, and pepper. And so far I've found the earth.
Yeah.
Not much of the pepper, a
No.
little bit of the coffee, but the cocoa, there's a sweetness, but it's more a tanginess like you guys were talking about, not cocoa. So
Okay.
you're
No oak?
I'm not getting any pepper.
no,
Little
nothing,
bit of oak.
no woodiness for me, at least for this. But this is again, your mileage may vary when it comes to tasting the same things we do, or I'll read a review that somebody else has done, and our palates maybe you kind of see some guys have a similar palate to yours, and they detect some of the same
Yeah.
sensations or flavors. I haven't read enough of Coop stuff to know if he and I are that simpatico, but I can at least pick up one or two of the things that he's talking about. So I kind of know what to expect.
Impressed with this. I had one a few months ago when I was still having some problems.
Yeah.
And it didn't taste. I gotta be honest, it didn't taste good at all. But this is really good.
Maybe
so
it's
it
just
had to
the
be
time.
that.
Or just some time.
Just maybe, I don't know, but this is really delicious.
So there you go. Things have picked up, but it's very rough around the edges, and interesting too. It's kind of a slice of Americana looking type of thing on the band. Though that you might be thinking that those are smudges on the band from the oils or from the wrapper or something like that. It's actually printed on because Indian Motorcycle is a throwback to the actual motorcycle brand, Indian Motorcycle, and it's supposed to have that kind of oily, garagey, kind of American Pickers
Like
kind of mechanics look kind of. So that's Grease Monkey feel exactly, and that's why the band looks like it looks.
Okay.
So that's what you need to know.
Nicely done.
Wow.
I got 3 bells today.
Oh, I want to what? To talk about you? Oh, the Indian Motorcycle contest?
Yes, I think we should tell them about this.
Oh, yeah.
I think that you guys might be interested in winning an Indian motorcycle, an actual Indian motorcycle. So we have this deal in our wonderful catalog. But you go to IndianCigars.com and there's sweepstakes, and you can win. This is on page 65. You can win an actual $10,000 Indian motorcycle, brand new motorcycle.
That's cool.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So, and then you also get free Indian motorcycles, 4 motorcycle cigars when you buy a box. So it's a pretty good deal. So you might as well just check it out. The contest starts on April 7th. So you gotta wait a few days.
That's all right. So that'll obviously
be
be
patient.
on, that'll be on the website too.
Yeah, close up with that.
So a couple people chiming in saying that this is a toothy wrapper. It is an extremely toothy wrapper.
And I love that. That's a good old-fashioned Connecticut broad.
So if tooth is the pockets of oils from the fermentation during the leaf, and if you're looking at this and some of the pictures that Ryan was showing before, that fine tooth. I mean, there's so much to it, almost looks leathery. Of what the appearance of this thing kind of is. So that's that. And
motorcycle jacket.
we've got Phil Zangi here next week, which we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Good deal. Good deal. So I'm going to talk real quick about the Debonair, which is another cigar by Phil in the same company. This is a pretty high-end cigar. I know that the hoity-toity cigar magazine that says things taste like balsa wood and roasted gyro meat and tapioca in a box. But I'll tell you what, they did. They said a box of tapioca. I read one of their did forget. This cigar got extremely high ratings from a bunch of people, like very high up in the 90s. And I'm looking at our friend Coop, Cigar Coop. His is almost dead on to what I'm getting out of this right off the bat. I've had the very smaller size of this. What is that small one? It's not even a Corona. It's like smaller. Do I have? It's somewhere in the vicinity of.
Is that it?
No, this is actually this little Figurado fire plug they got, which was kind of cool. This one, Coop said he got almost a candied-like sweetness right off the bat, and I did too, but not like something that you'd say, ooh, to turn you off. No, it's so pleasant. Almost like citrus and vanilla. Like, those are kind of the flavors that are coming through, so I could tell right off the bat this is going to be a complex cigar. And that's not Madagascar vanilla, just regular old, if you go to Acme and get a little jar of vanilla. Now those other guys that do that other way.
Is it the imitation vanilla that you can't get drunk on anymore?
Well, now, didn't they put that other site that we're not going to mention their name, that imitation vanilla?
Yes, they have tasted imitation.
Yes, it's a place we talk about that rates cigars online that you might read about that. But they taste weird shit in their cigars, and they tasted artificial vanilla. No, this tastes like real vanilla, straight from the frickin' tree. Does vanilla grow on trees? I don't know.
It does now.
I think it's a vanilla bush.
A vanilla, really? A vanilla bush. You led me right into that, Gary. Nothing like a delicious vanilla bush.
That's right.
Vanilla comes from orchids.
Man, vanilla comes from orchids. I wish it came from a bush, because I'm a big fan of the bush. All right, so back to this cigar. I'm going to give you more detail on this Debonair. Like I said, the good people at Drew Estate are getting this out there. They're distributing it, and you know, if Drew Estate got behind this, you know it's a great cigar because they don't get behind anything else that's not great. So now we've got more stuff to talk about. You talked about the contest. When is that? April 7th?
April 7th.
Yawning Fred?
Yawning Fred.
Fred was yawn. We caught him in mid-yawn. Okay.
That's not awkward enough for you.
So, yeah, no, it's not awkward enough. John, do you want to tell... John, I know we have a really cool guide, a ring gauge guide.
Yes.
All right, so this is a little bit of a 101 for the beginners, and Ryan, you can swing around this side.
Right here.
This is our ring gauge and wrapper guide, new to Cigar Advisor and Famous Smoke Shop. And we're going to have Corey put the link up in just a second for our cigar ring gauge tool and guide for wrappers. So we have the most commonly used cigar ring gauges, 28 through 64. And of course, as you're learning about cigars, you'll find out that 64 is 1 inch. That's how it translates to. Now, it's you can convert it to metric for our for our non-imperial friends. So 64 ring would be 25.2 millimeters. But this is commonly used throughout the cigar world. So the Toro I'm smoking, for instance, is a 52 ring gauge, so you can see in actual size. If you download this guide, it is free. That is the size of a 52 ring cigar. Exactly. And then we've also got a ruler here, the length ruler, so that kind of gives you a general idea of how long it's going to take to smoke the cigar. Now, the ring gauge of the cigar and how tightly the cigar is rolled may also affect how long it takes you to smoke. But you can average that, say, a Robusto of 5 inches is going to take somewhere between 60 to 90 minutes, depending on how well you pace yourself. So if you have a cigar and you want to measure it up, or you just want to check and see and try different cigars of different ring gauges and sizes, you can go ahead and see. We've also included a wrapper color chart. So there is no real... The standards are more general when it comes to wrapper color, but these are the generally accepted terms and the expectations that different factories use, that if they're going to be talking about Maduro or Colorado Maduro, or if you see a description that talks about Colorado Claro or Oscuro, we have a generalization of what that's going to look like. Gary has it in person over here, but you can see what those colors actually look like and get a general sense of how dark or how light that wrapper is. And that is now available for download. You can take it for free right at Famous Smoke Shop, and Corey has put the link up, so you click on it, download it in a PDF, and it is yours.
That's very cool, and that's the kind of stuff we do here at Famous for free.
Hurts.
So we have the tasting wheel, which we've given away, that we created for you guys. We've got the ring gauge chart. This is awesome. Awesome! This is an awesome company. Five bells for the awesome company. Now, we have the Professor Gary Korb here, as you know, and the Professor has something really cool to talk about. No, he doesn't. He's going to make this shit up out of his head. But wait, before I get to the Professor, I've got 4 craft beer tasting glasses. They're real glass, people. No vinyl horse crap here. And somebody's going to win this beautiful set from the tap room from the wonderful people at Weyerbacher Beer who were here just recently on the show. And to win that, you have to answer the questions, because I know a lot of you guys came in late. The question is, where do you smoke at home? I smoke on my back patio, my stone patio, because I am deckless. Fred smokes on his little deck because he has a very little deck. Gary likes the porch. He's a porch guy. And what did you say there, John? Where do you like to smoke at home?
I have a breezeway between my house.
Breezeway is a great place to smoke.
Yeah,
really
between my house and the
breeze
garage.
comes through, it takes the smoke away.
It's fantastic.
I love
Nice. It's a little oasis.
You know, George, I love a breezeway.
Tiny little house.
So, Gary, the Professor,
Love my house.
you're going to tell us about recharging your humidifiers
That's right.
for your thingamajig here. Now, the thingamajig, it's called a humidor. Now, why you want to think about recharging and stuff too is that now the weather in a lot of the colder places isn't really getting very warm yet, but it's going to start getting warmer. You're going to stop using the heat as much in your house. And, you know, you might need a little new recharge in your humidifiers. Gary, talk about this subject, because these guys need to know this.
Well, Today we're going to talk about the importance of making sure that your humidifiers are properly charged and when to get rid of them because they don't last forever. Now I'm going to show you in here, my office humidor here. I have a pretty new humidifier. This is a Cigar Crystal model. I like this a lot. And you can see how nice and clean it is. And you can tell it's also been freshly charged within the last week or two because it's still pretty full. And that's the way you want it. I also have another humidifier in here. This is a different type. What I like about this one, it has some kind of synthetic material or something in here, but it holds a ton of water. It gets really heavy when it's full. And you can use 50-50 solution, which is half polyglycol, half distilled, or just distilled water in here. I just refilled this the other day because my hygrometer was showing me 63, and I like to keep it up around 66, 67. And I filled that thing up, and it came right up. Now, check this out, Ryan. You see this? These are humidifiers that I'm not using anymore because after a few years, they start to turn brown. I don't know if it comes from the humid air in the cigar, you know, like in how the walls here are always brown. But they just lose it, you know. And look how few crystals are in here too. They eventually just dissolve, and these are really disgusting. So I brought these in from home because I just replaced these two, and this one is really pretty gross too. Now I could fill these up again with water. I did this for a while. And I didn't really mind the fact that it was brown because they were working. But you know what? I noticed that as soon as I put in the new humidifiers, they work that much better. So once they start to get really disgusting like this, just chuck them, man. They're no good. And check your humidifiers at least every couple of weeks. And if you need to, you know, rotate your cigars a little bit. Check the cigars on the bottom, check them on the top, see if they feel right, and that's about it. But don't let them get like this. Because
Gross.
they will mess you up.
Man.
And that's all I have to say about it. So back to you, Z.
No, that's really good information because people don't realize that they don't last forever. Especially
about 3 years though.
Now, is that
It's good.
that's the ones with the floral foam?
This was the Cigar 100,
Yeah.
and this was the actually I think it's a
Now, does that have
25.
the floral foam in it or no?
No. These are the crystals.
Okay, so
And you
floral,
put the Cigar.
Yeah.
You have to use the Cigar solution for this because it's made for this.
Yeah.
But you can also use distilled water, but they prefer that you use their stuff because it's made for that.
The green florist foam, you're lucky if you get
Don't use
a couple
that.
months out of there.
That stuff's really on its way out.
It's nice that it
Use
comes
Bovedas or something like
you know,
that.
the interesting thing is that stuff's really gross to make.
Yeah.
But
Is
then
it? I
on,
can
the,
imagine.
on the production end of things,
It must be very dusty.
it's gross. But you know, it's good for florists.
You use
So let it be with the
formaldehyde.
flowers.
Mhm.
Spend the extra.
Formaldehyde in
I
it.
think there's some weird, gross stuff in it, but you know what? These things are specially designed.
Yeah. And they're
to
clean.
keep-
They're clean.
To
That's-
keep
that's the best
cigars humidified, so use the stuff that's been specifically designed for that purpose.
Yeah.
very nice.
Alright.
So now we've got quite a few people that say they're a big fan of the Vanilla Bush, and why
Good.
wouldn't they be? Love a good Vanilla Bush. We had Joe P. is getting an order from Famous today in New York. I'm giving him
Good luck,
5
dude.
bells. We have some important
Upstate
people
beef
down the
jerky
hall in a
for
meeting,
vanilla?
so they've told me keep the bells low today.
Sugar and vanilla.
For whom the bell tolls, Spitball Parade. Do you guys cover For Whom the Bell Tolls? Would be the Metallica song. Billy K. out in Long Island says his favorite place to smoke a cigar is at Leaf Restaurant at 90 Morton Drive at Famous Smoke Shop. Billy's bucking for that freaking 4 glasses
Wow,
here.
Billy, there's
Yeah.
$25 in the mail coming.
Yes. And Ricky Mittman says he rides an Indian Scout. Nice. 3 bells for the Indian Scout. I love Indian bikes. So again, if you came in late, yeah, 4 glasses. These are craft beer tasting glasses from the people at Weyerbacher. Somebody's going to win that nice set. We're arguing who's going to wrap these things. I'm sure they'll come to you in 47 pieces. But, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Drink glass confetti.
Well, you know, if it comes in multiple pieces,
Sparkling beer.
maybe we'll send some Gorilla Glue with it and just say it's like a puzzle, you know.
Assemble your own glasses.
The Weyerbacher
Build your own
puzzle. So if you answer the question, where do you smoke at home, we're going to pick a random winner where do you smoke at home? You know, the front, the back, the side, in the house. I think the best thing is, okay, extra points. You can answer. Give me another answer that'll get you in on the contest. Do you smoke in your house? I would have certain areas of the kibasi removed if I smoked in my house. I know I'm not a man. I'm not a man, but I don't smoke in my house. John, Gary, and Fred, I don't think any of you smoke in the house, correct?
That's big of you to admit.
Yes. And you guys smoke in the house?
No, my house is like 750 square feet. I'd set off every smoke alarm in the house if I did.
It's like, I did smoke in my house for a little while because I said, hey,
It's my house. I can do whatever
it's
the
my
F
house.
I want.
I don't have to deal with a woman living with me that's going to complain.
There you go.
And but I never smoked around my kids. But I tried it for a while. You know what? It just eventually it's just unless you have the right filtration or you can open the windows to get a cross breeze. I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
Or you have it. You know you need to get special.
Gary don't have to take no guff.
That's right.
It's all right.
That's right. I don't answer to anybody.
Good for you.
Nice. Fred, do you smoke in the house?
No, I do not. I cannot because I rent.
Oh.
It's in the lease.
You
There's
rent,
no
you
smoking
can't
in my
smoke,
house.
and you have a baby.
And I have a baby, which is also
Now,
strongly
And the baby's
just
a
frowned upon.
and but the baby smokes, but Fred doesn't. So
she and Fred hang out.
Maybe just picked up a box of Monte Cristos on the way home from work.
nice.
She did actually.
It's a
Yeah.
smart baby. So you would smoke in the house to poison your baby if the lease said it was okay.
Yes,
That's
of
what you're
course.
saying.
Of course, like any good father would.
Yes, very good, Fred. Very good. Who owns the lease? Should we contact them that you've been smoking?
Yeah.
Now, are you smoking outside in your house though?
I smoke outside all the time.
Oh, you're a
Go on
big
the
man.
deck.
Oh,
Go on the deck.
that little deck.
Him and that deck.
Yeah, that
I
little
go on the hammock.
that little tiny deck
Go on
of
the fire
yours.
pit.
Yeah.
I mow the lawn with one.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, so we went through everything. We have questions, I think. I think we want to answer your questions. Did we? Well, you're going to talk about. Do you want to talk about that event later, or
Well,
now?
let's talk about the event while everybody's getting their questions teed up.
Yep.
So if you have questions, send them along. We will go ahead and do our best to answer them in a bit of a lightning round format, which we have been off for a week or so because of the weather. But we are back, and if you have questions that we can answer, we will do our best. Put them in the comments on the screen so we can read them. And if we do not get to yours, still leave the question anyway, because we after every show we go back through the entire list and answer some of the ones that we haven't been able to get to, or we'll include some links and whatever the case is. So we have a cocktail night coming up with Phil Zangi from Debonair and Indian Motorcycle Cigars. So this is coming up Thursday, April 5th. So that's a week from tomorrow.
A week from tomorrow.
So that is 6 to 8 p.m. Tickets are $24.99 per person. You can get them online at eventbrite.com or at leafcigarbar.com. So you can go right to the events page and get the link and buy them through Eventbrite. But for your $25 ticket, you get light appetizers, a cocktail that's up to $8, and 3 premium cigars, which look like 2 Debonair and 1 of the Indian Motorcycle. Plus, there's a whole bunch of box deals they have going on, and if you buy a box of Indian Motorcycle or Debonair, you get 6 free cigars. It's a Drew Estate cigar sampler, plus a lighter, a cutter, and a hat. So a nice bit of a swag bag plus free cigars, all on top of the extra good price you get for being part of the experience, the cocktail party with Phil Zangi. He will be here, so you can try it out. And
I think
meet
they
the
do
guy.
prime rib that night, right?
I believe they do. So if you stick around after the cocktail party for prime rib night,
Oh my God!
it's
Prime
going to
rib
be
is
off the hook.
best.
It's ridiculous. So 6 to 8 p.m. here at Leaf Cigar Bar and Famous Smoke Shop. Phil Zangi from Indian Motorcycle.
All right.
And
Props to him.
Debonair.
Yep.
So the first question, which should be an easy setup for us guys, is Emery wants to know, hey, what do you guys think of the 601 Kryptonite by Espinosa? It is a setup. Emery probably may not know why. Well, because we know who makes it. But the Espinosa, I think everything that Eric is making is just off the hook. And 601 Kryptonite is a lighter cigar, but it's very full of flavor. I think very well made, and I like it as an early in the day cigar. But I was smoking a lot of them at one time, and they come in the really coolest those humidity jars. Is that what we're calling them now?
Humidity jars.
Humidity jars.
Famous
Not
humidity
humidity jars. Anything that we can say about this 601 Kryptonite? Do we know what's in that thing? Because I know I enjoy the hell out of it. John is feverishly typing. I know there's tobacco in it.
What are we talking about?
The
601
Kryptonite.
Kryptonite.
What about
Just get with it, guys.
What's tobacco in that?
Nicaragua?
Yeah, it's
Well,
a
thank
Nicaraguan
you.
cigar. I mean,
I think we all like it a lot. So that answers your question. So does okay. So
Hold
Michael,
on, 601 Kryptonite. We can look this up real quick because this is the beauty of the
yeah, I
internet.
got it right here.
601 Kryptonite. So,
It's got a Nicaraguan Habano wrapper.
Nicaraguan Habano wrapper. This is more medium-bodied than some of the other 601 selections.
Pretty full.
Earthy spice, black pepper, smack of sweetness, teeming with bold, well-balanced flavors. And let's see, it's made at La Zona, and we see Nicaraguan Habano wrapper and Nicaraguan long fillers. All Nicaraguan blends seamlessly rolled in oily Habano wrappers.
now,
You
Yeah.
wrote that.
something we were going to talk about today, and we may as well talk about it now because Terry is asking us, what's up with the FDA? What's up with that?
Right.
And John, I know we put something on our page here at Famous about there's some new stuff going on with the FDA. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so Fred did a nice update. Fred did a nice update for our FDA page. And Fred, do you have that pulled up? You can kind of give a brief overview of things. There's actually kind of a silver lining. So there's been a couple of things that have come out. The FDA has decided that they want to go after all tobacco that's flavored, including menthol. So they want to make that an issue, and they want to start looking at if they're going to pull the flavors out of them. And then there was another thing that they're looking at capping the amount of nicotine in cigarettes and quite possibly cigars, which, if you're a full-bodied cigar smoker, does not bode well. Whether or not those get off the ground, it actually turns out that, and Fred, you have an update as far as what.
Yes.
Give us some of the inside lowdown.
Brian, come on over.
You can turn around.
So here's the article. It's on our Smokers' Rights Hub if you want to give it a read. I posted it around our page the other day. So essentially what's going on is the FDA is reconsidering their stance on cigars. They're opening everything up. You can comment now between, they started the commenting on Monday, and it's all the way up until June 25th. We have to go to them, and they're going to listen to public input, scientific data, any studies that have been done, and just general anybody's stance on it. It could be anybody from Nick Perdomo to Tommy Z-Man to you watching right now. Your opinion counts. And what they're going to do is they're going to be taking new opinions on how tobacco and premium cigars are going to fit into their framework. So they're going to look at how to define a premium cigar. If you get it close in here, it shows all the things they're taking input for, which is the definition of premium cigars, the usage among youth and young adults, public health considerations, different patterns, and all that stuff. So it's very important that we get all of our feedback in now, because they're already taking a lot of flack from it. They're already getting sued by like 7 different groups just for letting us have an opinion on this. So I'll let you know what other people think about us sometimes. You know?
And this is really one of the big sticking points, too, because what happened when the FDA came out with their deeming rule was they decided to look past what all the recommended advice from the industry that said you have to define premium cigars differently than machine-made cigars, than cigarettes, than little cigars. Premium cigars are a whole different product. And they did not follow that advice. And they went ahead and they painted the entire industry with a broad brush. It created a lot of problems for a lot of people. It still continues to do so. And thankfully and thoughtfully, they're going ahead and revisiting some of these things. And there might be an opportunity to go ahead and start, tweaking how some of that is.
Yeah.
So, the bat phone.
What do you mean?
It's the mayor.
It is the mayor. So, Tommy, more questions.
Who is this?
Gary's on the phone for 5 minutes. Who is it?
Who are you?
Oh, don't you sound so different?
Yeah.
Well, we're just talking about it now. We're on
Now Billy Kay says he wants to smoke on my front porch with me. Billy, you are invited anytime you want. Except for that's one hell of a ride from Long Island where you live. And
I'll have to get back.
I'd have you at my house in a second, buddy. We'll throw some steaks on the grill. We'll pour some scotch. We'll drink some stuff. We'll have crazy MILFs over that are my
Careful
neighbors.
that Tommy doesn't slip anything into your drink.
Yeah, I may do slip.
He was doing Bill Cosby impressions this morning that were quite
Yeah.
convincing.
A little too accurate.
Yeah. So,
Too close to home.
John, what do we have on the questions?
All right, so Ricky Mittman said he's commented, "There's nothing better than prime rib and Brussels at Leaf." So Ricky Mittman's getting his vitamins. That's a pretty good combo. Chase, which has more hot air, a hurricane that formed off the coast of Africa or Z-Man? I would believe it would be Z-Man because I think I'm no weather expert, but I think it's a combination of cold fronts.
Jeez, Chase, I don't know. Hurtful. Really answer that very much.
Lawrence
Right now.
Paterno wants to know, what are your favorite sizes to smoke? He prefers a 5x56 or thicker. Gary, what's your go-to size?
Generally a Toro, around 5.5 to 6 inches by 52 to 54. So average 6 by 52. I like that.
Fred?
Favorite
My
size?
favorite size cigar? Well, depends on the blend, but I tend to prefer a Toro most of the time, especially if it's like medium to full body. But they tend to be the stronger the cigar. I like the smaller the size, just because the flavor tends to be a bit more balanced. What do you like, Tommy?
Well, I'm going to say that Spitball Parade says they're going to, when I have a party at my house that Billy is invited to, others will be invited, and Spitball Parade is going to come and play in my yard.
You heard him.
So my smoke Nazi
Party
neighbor
Tommy
will have
sounds,
a
everybody.
freaking heart attack and go nuts. My favorite size, I just have been gravitating to Toro, but more 6x54 in the last year or so. I go through. Do you guys go through different phases with sizes?
Oh, yeah,
I do
absolutely.
big time.
Because I just went through a phase where it's still kind of around. I had a 6x43 Corona in a white and Nicaragua blend that I really liked.
Corona is just a nice size to
It's nice, you know, and it's a good middle of the day kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's,
I've been getting
that's
the
I
smaller
like the
sizes
6x43 Corona. Often overlooked and underappreciated.
I'm starting to look at more Lonsdales and Churchills, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Likewise, I'm getting into the different, slightly smaller or slightly thinner cigars. For a while, I was into Churchills, and now I'm getting back into the Coronas,
I think,
Corona Gordas, and all
I think
that.
Lonsdales are making a little
Lonsdales are-
comeback. Definitely.
Lonsdales are good.
I'll tell you,
Very over.
I think one of the best Lonsdales we have here, and I know it's at a good price, and you'd be surprised that it's a good price, but the Oliva Serie V Lonsdale is
that's great.
fantastic. And you know, a Lonsdale is a very thin cigar, so that's not easy to roll, because it's not easy to get the perfect draw on it. The Oliva Serie V Lonsdales are fantastic. I have turned people onto those that said they would never smoke that size, and they smoke it, and they go, holy
You know,
mackerel, I just bought a box.
And we just got a bunch of Roma Craft and some like very limited run Lonsdale sizes
Really?
for the Intemperance. Yeah, for the Intemperance.
That's
So
nice.
if you guys want to get in a hand of those are only going to be around for
About a week.
who knows? Yeah, people sell out of those Roma Crafts real quick, and they're fantastic cigars.
Now, Connie is on. Hi, Connie. He wishes us happy Easter. I think that works for 3 of us in here. I think one of us it didn't work as much for. So
That's all right.
yeah, that's all right. Gary's like, that's all right. That's
Now,
all right. What if you?
Bob Southen brings up a good point, because I want to go back to the size thing for a second. Size depends on the time allotted for me. And that is excellent advice.
It is.
Because you want to make sure, you know, look, you're going to have an hour or 2 to smoke a cigar. Don't try and fill it with a cigarillo. If you have 45 minutes to smoke, don't think you're going to sit down with a double Toro or a Churchill, because you're going to end up with wasted cigar, or you're not going to enjoy it because you feel inclined to puff your way through it too fast.
Yeah.
So match the amount of cigar for the amount of time you have, and a good tool to do that with is the ring gauge and smoking ruler and wrapper guide that we just published at
Absolutely.
famoussmoke.com.
Very useful, very
famous-smoke.com. So that'll give you an idea. Like if you're not sure, on average, like a Robusto is 60 to 90 minutes. A Churchill is an hour to an hour and a half, maybe
Oh,
an hour and
maybe
45
2
minutes.
hours.
Could be closer to 2, depending. You know, so if
I
you got
bet
2
it's
hours, maybe a Churchill's something to try. But don't, you know, you're going to be left kind of hanging
Well,
you only
you
have
should have a
Robusto.
Churchill where you really have the time.
Exactly.
Because I've had Toros and even Robustos that have gone over 2 hours.
Oh yeah.
So it depends on how you smoke it, your pace.
Absolutely. That's a
and
really good point.
How it's packed, even the tobaccos themselves. Some are
Ligero
slower
in
burning. It might have more Ligero in it, and so you got to go with that too.
James Arthur Shannon wants to know, what is the atomic weight of cobalt? 58.93.
Wow.
Very good, John.
Frank Rudd wants to know, I want to take my brother to a cigar factory tour for his 50th birthday.
Ooh.
What do you recommend for the most fun and swag?
Well,
Yeah.
is he going to stay in the country or go out of the country? Because there's J.C. Newman in Florida.
Yeah, I think
It's not the same, though.
if you're going to make it a milestone thing for the 50th birthday,
Yeah.
I had seen, I think it was Colin had recommended Cigar Safari.
Well, Cigar Safari and
That's a-
Nick
that's a
Perdomo's are
good one.
both
Yeah, there's
outstanding.
a little bit of a difference though, and I have never been on Nick's tour, but I think you've talked to him enough about.
Nick Perdomo?
Yeah,
I've been to his factory.
Oh, you have
and
been?
I got the personal tour
Oh.
with Arthur.
Oh!
And I'll tell you, he's got some operation over there. But since I've been there, and that was a long time ago,
Yeah.
he's like modernized so much stuff. And he's got all this new equipment, and I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it's state of the art.
So, what I have learned though from Perdomo's
Yeah.
tour is it is very intensive, and you learn a lot.
I'm sure you
it's
do,
not,
yeah.
there used to be a day and an age like when you went to General and stuff. There was a lot of screwing around and drinks and this and that and the other thing, and you go on Perdomo's and you are there to learn about tobacco, and you're going to learn why you like those cigars.
Yeah.
They're going to drill it into you. Cigar Safari is a very immersive experience. You get to see the people. You get to see a
it's
little
more
bit of a
cultural.
little culture that
Yeah.
goes on around in Esteli.
Make
get
your
to
own blend.
Make your own blend. You get to go to Hoya de Nicaragua as well,
Yeah.
which is just across town. A little bit more immersive in the cultural side,
Right.
and there's always some R&R back at the house.
And Muwat
after-
Studios. You get to go
Yeah.
see the Muwat Studios
yeah,
and
Subculture.
yeah,
Subculture
subculture,
studios are right
subculture
there.
studios. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Very good. Well,
that's that.
You know what? Keith Reed asked a great question. Umberto gave a good answer. And Keith said, how do you recommend telling a local brand, I guess it's a shop, I'm guessing, that makes their own brand or has it made, that you don't care for their blends without offending them? Umberto says, if someone is serious about making cigars, they would not be offended if you don't like the cigar. Tell them what you think. Lying serves no purpose. Umberto's absolutely right. I would put on top of that, though, tell them why you don't like it, because it may just not be your kind of cigar, and that's all there is to it. I mean, there are people that eat Liga number 9s for breakfast. They love them so much. Other people don't like that type of profile at all. AJ Fernandez makes very peppery cigars. Some people are not fans of that. Others can't get enough of it. So if you tell them why you don't like it, just don't say it tastes like crap. It's like, or even if you say it's too strong, it's too mild. You say it's too strong. So the owner should ask, well, what do you normally smoke? And then when you say it's too strong, they go, I get it. So good question, good answer, and all around. So there you go, John.
Giuseppe wants to know, what are some good tips for planning a cigar bar at a wedding?
Ooh, a cigar bar.
First, we'll be looking for our invites, so that's
Yeah.
suggestion number one. You should probably say.
Well, a lot of people
It's
are having-
we will sit with the DJ. We're okay with that. I
Yeah.
don't mind sitting at the DJ.
Oh
table.
yeah. A lot of people are having rollers at weddings now. That's like a big thing where it's outside because you can't smoke inside anywhere. I don't know about a cigar bar, but people, if you want to set up an outdoor bar and it's warm weather,
Or smoking
people
section.
are bringing cigar rollers to weddings like crazy.
Or
now.
even if he's just offering cigars.
Well,
I think that's probably the easiest.
There's a
light
company
station.
here in the valley that
Yeah.
does a cigar bar for your wedding and whatever it is.
Yes,
they do
there is.
special. I think it was Rockin' Photo or something.
Something
They also
like
have a
that.
Rocket side. I
You
think
can
we sell them
also-
cigars.
And I know, because I know Giuseppe lives in the Philadelphia area. In the suburbs, there is an old Cigars International factory that's now a venue that you can rent for weddings. So, and they have a cigar bar. So he could actually have it in a cigar factory, which is pretty cool.
That's neat.
Yeah.
That's
So
neat.
check that out, Giuseppe.
If you're going to have, if you're just going to have like a cut and light station available, probably the easy thing to do would be have a selection of, well, first of all, the cigars have probably a decent selection of mild and medium bodied cigars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that way
And they don't have to be huge. Probably nothing bigger than a Robusto, because
No.
the serious smokers will come out of the woodwork, but probably 80 to 90% of the people who want to take a cigar, they'll smoke 3 puffs of it, put it down, and wander away to something
That's
else.
true.
Now.
That's sad
So
but true. Sad but
there are plenty of good bundles that will fit the bill, and a few boxes too. Don't be hung up on name, but be more concerned with content. So I would say a Connecticut or an Ecuador Connecticcut wrapper choice,
Yep.
and maybe something a Habano, so that the more serious cigar smokers will have it. Throw a couple of these on the table, just some throwaway cutters, because they're going to walk away. So don't put your good ones out. So these, you can find these at any cigar store for like $1 or $2.
Yeah.
And then you can have a couple of lighters hanging around, but chances are these will walk away as well. So make sure they're not your nice ones. And truth be told, if it's if it's just a wedding, and you're not concerned, matches or just use Bics.
Let me tell you.
Just throw a couple of Bics on the table, and it'll get the job done for what you're doing. People
Well,
are there
the
for
real
the party.
cigar smokers will have their lighter and cutter
Yes,
with them.
That's true.
So the guys that smoke cigars at weddings only or whatever, they won't mind using the Bic. So really good.
That's nice
good
to
question.
offer.
Now, we have a question asked by Carl Mark Mayberry, who we talk about this a lot. I talk about this a lot. I've talked about it in articles. He says, guys, is it offensive to bring your own cigars to a cigar lounge? And there's a couple of answers to that. There's some caveats here. The thing is, if you go into a cigar, say, store that has a lounge, you cannot walk in there with your own cigars and not buy their cigars. That is very offensive. Beyond rude. We said it here a million times. Would you walk into a bar with a 6-pack and sit at the counter and crack them open and go, oh, I'm fine? Would you walk into a Morton Steakhouse with your own steaks and start eating, pull them out of foil bags? Just bring me some water. You wouldn't. So if you go into a cigar lounge and it's a place like a store that sells cigars, buy their cigars. I will always, buy something.
You don't have to smoke the ones that you bought that day.
No.
Because a lot of times I have to let my cigars rest.
Well, that's what I do.
You can bring your own, but you should buy something. Get something. You know.
Absolutely. You should absolutely patronize the venue wherever you are.
They're giving you the space and the time. So.
Yeah, I mean, so the other thing is that there are some lounges who do not frown upon that. There some places are very easygoing. You can find that a lot.
Especially if you're a regular.
Especially if you're a regular.
Yeah.
But what some places will do, they will charge a cutting fee.
Correct.
Similar to a corking fee at a
Exactly.
restaurant. So that if you go in, but you brought your own cigars, don't be surprised if they say, sure, we'll cut your cigar for you, and it's going to cost you a couple
Same
of
amount
bucks.
of
or
Right.
something
Well,
like
the
that.
Carnegie Club
$2,
in New York.
$3.
And the
The
Soho
Carnegie
Club.
Club in New York is a very, very ritzy club. that-
Soho Cigar Bar. would do
Soho
that
Cigar
too.
Bar too. So
Yeah.
Carnegie Club is a cigar-friendly bar, and I'll put in a plug. My buddy Steve Maglio is considered the world's best Sinatra singer, for real. Considered by Dina Martin and Nancy Sinatra have said he's the best. His father would love him. So Steve Maglio does 2 sets on Saturday night there at the Carnegie Club in Manhattan. They're right off. Yeah, no, he's a good buddy. But when you go in there, you can smoke cigars. They sell cigars, but if, like John said, if you don't buy their cigars, they're going to charge you a cutting fee. It might be $10, it might be whatever.
Yeah.
But to close this subject out, what I do often is if I go into a store that sells and they have a little lounge, I say, I'm buying a few of your cigars. I'll pick them out. Is it okay if I smoke the one I brought in since I bought your cigars? 99% of guys will say, yes, that's okay. There are some store owners that get a freaking hard on for that, and they won't let you smoke your own cigars even though you bought theirs.
So don't go
That's
back.
wrong to me.
So don't go back there.
Yeah, I mean, so
You don't wanna hang out
that
with them
answers
like
the
that.
question. Few more questions, John, then we're going
I
to
got
give
two.
away a winner.
Chuck wants to know, has anyone started a cigar club? And if anybody has any tips on starting one, what do you do when you get together? Like trade cigars or whatever the case
Yeah.
is. So you started a cigar club?
I had
or
a cigar
you
club.
ever been part of a cigar club? So, this is a good one where everybody, if you are part of a cigar club or you have started your own, your comments are certainly welcome to go ahead and help answer Chuck's question. Tommy, you've started your own cigar
Well,
club.
yeah, and really kind of during the boom in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, it was so big, I started a cigar club, and it was a great way to do business. You can do it for business or you can do it just for fun. What we did was we met at different cigar-friendly bars and restaurants. So I'm in the North Jersey, so in the North Jersey, New York area, we'd meet at a different place all the time. I'd either put together a dinner or something with appetizers, or we just met for drinks. It's harder these days because there are so few cigar-friendly places and smoking-friendly places anymore. So, I mean, for real, it's a perfect plug, but here we have Leaf Cigar Bar in Easton, Pennsylvania, which is...
We do events.
Yeah, right, which is only an hour outside of Manhattan. We're in the Lehigh Valley. And Leaf Cigar Bar has great food, great drinks. You know, you can get full dinner to sandwiches and everything, but a lot of cigar clubs come here to have either their smoking night or their meetings, and not guys who are close. Some guys drive from many states away. They'll have 20, 30 guys come down from Maine, or I've had guys come from Canada, Toronto and stuff. So that's just a thought. It's a little harder these days since there's not a lot of places. If it's beautiful outside, start a cigar club in your backyard, and if you live on a cul-de-sac. I've actually done that at my house. I have a cul-de-sac at the end of my road, and I've gotten guys to come over and make a circle around a fire, and we call that our cigar club. It doesn't have to be fancy. You don't need a logo.
Hop on Fred's little deck.
So there you go. Or you can, you can hop on Fred's very little deck. Fred has a very
You can't hop on Tommy's
very
deck,
small
though.
deck. You can't hop on mine because it's spoken for. All right, just a couple more questions. Then what we're going to do is tell you about a couple of really great Cigar Advisor articles. Then we're going to give away 4 really nice tasting craft beer glasses.
Steven wants to say his son is getting married this year. What would be a good cigar to introduce him to for his first? First of all, Steven, congratulations, and pass along our congratulations to your son. So first cigar recommendations. I mean, I will say if you go to cigaradvisor.com and you plug in the word starter or beginner or any of those, we've got about a half a dozen articles. They each have their own recommendations for good starters, like Hoyo de Monterey, Avo Classic. That'd be a good one because that's a nice.
Yeah, that's a real good one.
Yeah,
Avo
or the
Classic.
XO.
Or the XO. That's a little hardier.
Classy. The Romeo
Real?
Cedros
Reserva
or
Real?
Romeo,
Yeah.
the main line, or Romeo Vintage. Also,
Yeah, nice.
really
Macanudo
nice.
Vintage.
That's a good one.
I did an article a couple weeks ago on first cigars for beginners and for novices, and so that would be a good read if you want to check that out because that's better cigar, like just a step up above the usual starter cigars.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna have they don't have to, it goes from like $6 to $20 per stick. So check that out. That has some good recommendations.
Yeah.
Get some ideas from that.
Yeah,
I
I
like that.
would just say don't start with a real cheapo cigar.
No,
get something
you'll turn
decent.
them off.
Get something good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
He's got some good picks
got
in
some good
here, like
suggestions.
the Crown Heads Luminosa. I like that Avo idea.
yeah,
That Avo Classic
really,
or the
you
Avo
can't miss
XO.
with the Avo because of the quality.
You know what?
Yeah.
Ashton is a good starting cigar too.
Yes.
Yeah,
True, yeah.
that's a good
That's
one.
another
And
good one.
The
I agree.
Macanudo Vintage 06 that Fred was talking about.
Yes.
I brought those and smoked them with my cousin last year, and that was
Yeah.
probably he's had maybe 3 or 4 cigars in his life, and he really liked that.
There you go.
So that would be it's a little bit of a step above the regular run-of-the-mill.
Fuente
Macanudo
858 is
Cafe.
another good
Yeah.
one. 858 Maduro.
858's a good one.
Romeo Reserva Real.
Don
Yeah.
Carlos.
So there you go.
So
There's a dozen suggestions.
I think that we always say that someone who's never smoked a cigar before, but wants to get into it, I think you almost always have to start them out with something on the milder side. Lighter colored Connecticut wrapper, something that's toasty tasting and toasty aroma. When a lot of times lighter cigars have very nice aromas, and that's where you'll find people who don't smoke cigars or women who don't smoke cigars say, "Oh, that cigar smells good." That's a good way to start them off because a stronger cigar is going to be too heavy on the palate, and it's the same thing as when you start drinking wine. You don't start with super heavy cabs and peppery Shirazes and stuff like that. Some people can, but
yeah.
very few can.
I've heard a lot of people start on like Padron 26s and 64s.
Yeah,
It happens.
that's rare though.
Or they start with something mild and they don't like it and they just move right to full bodied and
Yeah.
Kirk Lawless in the house.
There it is. Undercrown Shade is another good one.
Your brother says American Market.
Yes.
Patel American
Excellent
Market
cigar.
Selection.
Turn him onto those.
Let's see.
Eric Korb in the house.
Eric Kong
That's a
says,
cold
"Would you
before,
start
right?
with a flavored cigar as a first cigar?" I would
Long
not.
story, I'll take it.
You can though.
You can't look. You
Well,
gotta
if it depends
try
on what they smoked before.
Try it.
If they've only had experience with cigarettes or with flavored cigars, or like with black and mild, something like a Tobacco Especial or a Java would be an easy stepping stone. So,
All right, one more. David Harper wants to know, what's the minimum time to allow mail-order cigars to rest before smoking? We talked about this
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago, but this is a good
Minimum
refresher.
would be maybe 3 days, average about a week.
Right. So, but start with one a day or so.
Yeah, take one out of the
I
box.
take one of the box as soon as
Yeah,
I get it.
Smoke that,
And
and
see.
then smoke another one a few days or a week later, and you'll see there will be a little difference.
Yeah.
So,
And when you feel that it's dialed into a flavor you like, or to a taste profile you like, then now it's time to start enjoying these on a more regular basis.
That's just an experience thing.
So yeah, it's you kind of got to tweak it as you go.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy?
I think this debonair smoking is fantastic.
Really?
Yeah, it is
What are you
complex.
getting out of it right
Well,
now?
it's very complex. It's staying on. Remember, we said Coop was saying that it starts out sweet. It's kind of sweet throughout.
Nice. I like
Nutty,
that.
vanilla, citrus, and it's picking up in strength. It was medium bodied when I started. Now it's more medium full as I'm about more than halfway through. Wow, what a great cigar. I mean, I know he uses super top quality tobaccos, and this is a very fine cigar. So Debonair by our buddy Phil. It's going to be in here at Leaf Cigar Bar, Famous Smoke Shop in Easton next week. Now we have going to give away some set of glasses in a few minutes. We have some great articles that are on cigaradvisor.com.
Yes, we do.
If you're not familiar, Cigar Advisor is the online magazine that the four of us are editors and writers for. We do tons of articles, and we do tons of video and one-on-one to help you learn stuff. We do cigar reviews. And so if you have not checked out Cigar Advisor, that's how we feed our families. So please go to Cigar Advisor. Now, Gary wrote a really good article. Smoke. Oh, boy, smoking. God, I can't wait for a picture from Spizak now. OCD cigar habits. People have habits when they smoke cigars. Gary wrote an article about it. My weirdo habit is when I get the ash on the cigar and it's not squared off, I tap it lightly to get a squared off ash. I don't know why. I like the look. It is OCD psychopathic. It probably means I am going to take out my family with an axe when I turn 90. So I'm not sure what it means. But Gary, tell them about your article real quick, because it's a good article.
I noticed over the years that I have these little peccadillos, whatever you want to call it. Like, for example, I like to keep this is right from my humidor at home. I like to keep the cigars in a very ordered fashion. So you see I have the long ones here, and they go down, 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 and then the same thing in the second row. And so what I did was I asked a bunch of people that I work with, and some people in the cigar business, what kind of things do you do? And here's one fellow. He actually writes. He takes a band. He has these little bands, and he keeps it home. And he puts. He'll say, like, for example, this one was given to him by Errol on the 13th of August. I can't see the year, but here's one that I gave him in November of 2000. I don't know. 1114. 14. So he does that. He keeps a record of everything. This guy.
From the future.
Fred.
in the future.
Fred likes to have, when he cuts his cigar, it's got to be perfectly straight across.
Oh, yes.
And there's a whole bunch of other cool stuff in here. So, see if you can relate to any of these guys. And if you have your own OCDs, put them in a comment. Yeah, we want to hear what you're up to. Or, so anyway, there you go.
That's a good article, because I think as you're reading it, you go, oh man, I do that. And then I read other stuff and I go, oh, what a psychopath. So, Fred, you wrote an article on top new cigars for March.
Yes.
It's March Madness for
March
cigars.
Madness. Well, we do this every at least twice a month, and this week's running theme is March Madness. I'm sure a lot of you guys are busting brackets right now, and so what we have right now is, I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of stuff from Roma Craft, very limited edition stuff. It's mostly the sizes, but we have the Aquitaine Anthropology, we have the Intemperance, we have the Intemperance Humility, and we have a new exclusive, the Indomina by AJ Fernandez, which we reviewed not too long ago. We did a panel review. So these are limited editions, except for the Indomina. The Indomina is going to be around all year. But get on these quick because these are fantastic cigars. If Skip's watching, big shout out to Skip because he gave us some cigars recently that are freaking fantastic. His cigars are just phenomenal, a great staple in the boutique end of cigars. So get a hold of these cigars. We just got these in, try them out. Let us know. Yes, move fast because they're going to be gone soon.
Here's a guy that knows. Greg Hughes says he loves our show. Greg, you are
Smart guy.
a 5-bell candidate.
Smart guy, Greg.
Right there. So the last article, John, we've been doing these really cool videos, these kind of downshot videos on how to make certain kinds of drinks that are very popular, alcoholic drinks, and we've been pairing really good cigars with them. And John, what's the one we just did? That's an excellent one.
I just posted up how to make a mojito plus a recommended cigar pairing to go with it. Now, you can find out how to make a mojito everywhere, but if you're going to enjoy it, you got to have the right cigar to go with it.
That's right.
So we have the beautiful thing is we have Leaf Cigar Bar and Restaurant next door, and Chad behind the bar makes some great drinks.
Oh yeah.
And he was kind enough to let us shoot him making his version of the mojito, which is pretty much the classic fare. The only thing he doesn't do is muddle, but there's 3 reasons
he
why.
doesn't muddle.
He's not a muddler.
He's not a muddler.
Muddler was a muddler.
His muddler was muddler. But there's a reason why, besides the fact, there's actually three reasons why, and you can read them in the article, why you don't have to muddle the ingredients of a mojito. But our cigar to go with it is from La Gloria Cubana. I'll let you find that out as well online. But I did a quick kind of comprehensive overview, although quick and comprehensive are kind of diametrically opposed terms, but it's a quick overview of what you can expect from this particular La Gloria and why we think it goes so well with a nice, refreshingly sweet rum cocktail like the mojito.
Ooh. Yeah.
Summer's here, man. I don't care what the calendar says. It's time to start enjoying. And this will hopefully get you on your way.
Well, there you go. So the show's coming to the end, which means we're going to give away these 4 awesome craft beer tasting glasses from the good people at Weyerbacher Brewery, who are right here in Easton in the Lehigh Valley in Pennsylvania. Are they in half the country, guys? I can never get that right.
24 states.
How many states are they in?
24 states.
And they're
half the country.
24 states, and they're half the country, and they're growing. They're growing. Weyerbacher makes great beers, many different great beers. So they've been a great guest, and they left us with some glasses. And somebody has won these wonderful glasses. So here's the countdown. The winner of today's 4 craft beer glasses and an all-around great guy and fan of the show is Terry Decker. Yes, Terry. All right. Well, Terry answered both questions today. Terry Decker in the house. He answered both questions today. And he also feels that Fred Lunt has a very small deck. So they call him, actually, Fred's nickname around here is Pimple Deck. So,
That's not.
It's
All right,
true.
we're crossing a line.
I'm always crossing a line.
We've left the cross.
So I think you guys should give congratulations to Terry Decker because he is a big fan of the show. And he watches every week, and people are congratulating. That's nice. Other people are saying, "Wow,
He's
you."
now in therapy.
Yes, that
As a
happened there.
result.
So that's it for another fine week of Cigar Advisor live with the Cigar Advisors. That's us. And one more time, John, you want to tell them about our 2 cigars real quick today?
So it is Indian Motorcycle and Debonair, both from Debonair House. Phil Zangi, a reminder that he will be here a week from tomorrow, next Thursday, for a cocktail party here at Famous Smoke Shop. $24.99 gets you a cocktail and light appetizers and 3 of his cigars. You can take up to 22% off each of those brands, Indian Motorcycle and Debonair, by taking either one of the links that are up at the top. Don't forget about that event, and also don't forget about the free cigar ring gauge tool. You can download it from the links that we have in the comments section of the live show here at Cigar Advisor.
That's John
Very good.
Bull. That's Gary Korb, the professor.
See you next time.
He's got Indian nose. Yeah. And then that's Fred Lunt of the Cunning Lunts of
Chernobyl.
Chernobyl and Pennsylvania. So that's another week. Now, guys, I think next week's show, are we going to be in a new office, a new studio? We're actually, they're possibly moving us out of this office studio that we're in right now. So that's it for the show. My name is Tommy Z-Man. We're on every Wednesday, unless it snows like it's the end of the freaking world, which it did. It's happened to us twice the last month. That's it. Tommy Z-Man, and this is my scoring Hemlock, and he is signing off for another great week. Live with the Cigar Advisors and FamousSmoke.com.